Hello guys, I am here to answer some of your doubts in this video. This video is about your doubts, my answers, and it's episode 6. So without any lagging, let's get in. So the first doubt is, why does the periodic table has the strange shape? You might have seen periodic table lot of times, but do you know why does it had such shape? So here's the answer. The periodic table is arranged in such a way so that all the columns in the periodic table contains the same periodic elements, and all the rows in the periodic table contains the same grouping elements. So what is periods and what is groups now? First, let's look at the periods. Let me take a hydrogen to explain you. This is the atom as you can see in the photo. The outer boundary is known as the shell of the atom. So the periods are simply how many shells does the atom contains. So if the atom contains one shell, it will be on the first column of the table, and if it contains two shells, it will be on the second column. Similarly, hydrogen has the one shell, so it is on the first column of the periodic table. Let me explain briefly about atom. The center part which you can see is the nucleus of the atom. It contains neutrons and protons. They both mix up and form nucleus. The round which is orbiting is the electron. It orbits the nucleus as the earth orbits the sun. If you still didn't got it, then look at this photo. We are all familiar with this image. This is the 3D image. The first image which I show you is the 2D image. Here the lines which you can see are the shells, as I told before. So guys, now let's talk about the groups. Groups are also somewhat related with the shells. For that, let's look at the first row of the periodic table. Let us take hydrogen, lithium, sodium and potassium as an example. I told you just before that cell of the atom contains electrons. If we write down their sequence, we get a group. Do you want to know how? Let's look at an example. These are the four elements for the example which we talked before. So let's look at the atomic view of hydrogen. So look here, hydrogen contains one electron. So let's write it. And the second one is lithium. Look here, the first shell of the lithium contains two electrons and the second shell contains one. So let's write it as 2, 1. And let's look at the sodium. So the first shell of the sodium contains two electrons and the second shell contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 electrons, and the third shell contains one electron. Now let's write it as 2, 8, 1. And let's talk about the potassium. First shell contains 2 electrons, second one 8, third one 8 and fourth one contains 1. So let's write it as 2, 8, 8, 1. Hey, it contains 4 shells. Can you tell me which period it is? If you know the answer, then comment me down. Now what do you observe in this? Yes, every element has one in common. That means the last shell of the element contains only one electron. So like this, they are arranged in the rows. So all these elements are from the first row. Because they contains only one electron in the last shell, they are in the first row. And if you take the element from the second row, then it contains two electrons at the last shell. So this is how they are grouped and they are called groups. So now I think you got the answer for why periodic table is in such shape. Now let's move towards our second question, and it is, why do we get lots of wrinkles when we are in water? Yes, you may have seen that our palms and feet will get lots of wrinkles when you spend a lot of time in the water. Do you know the reason why it is so? Medical community first believed that this happens because our fingers absorb water by the process of osmosis, but this proved as wrong later. The correct answer for that is, this happens because our brain sends the signal to the blood cells to get out of that area. So you know that what happens if anything loses its volume. For example, if the balloon contains more air, then it would be very stiff. If it contains only less air, then it would be like wrinkly or small. So same happens with our fingers. If our fingers has lots of blood cells, then our fingers will be very stiff without any wrinkles. This happens because to regrip our fingers. Yes, we are in water, our fingers loses somewhat grip. That means they cannot hold some objects because they will be very slippery. So to avoid this, our nervous system does this activity. So this is the answer for that question. Hope you got it. And let's move towards our third question. The third question is, what is the difference between poison and venom? If a substance is injected into our blood, for example, when the snake bites or the honeybee stings, then it injects venom into our blood. So it is known as venom. Simply, a substance is injected into our blood which affects us is known as venom. When the substance affects you when you touch it or smell it or eat it, then it is known as poison. Both poison and venom will kill the person, but the difference between these two is very simple. It depends on how it is delivered. If it is delivered by the eating or by the skin or by the nose, then it is known as poison. And when it is injected into our blood, then it is known as venom. Most known source for the poison are frogs. Most of the frogs contains poison on their skin. When we touch it, we get affected. The most known source for the venom are snakes. Mostly snakes inject venom into our blood, so they are known as venomous. And there are some animals which contains both poison and venom. An example for that is Asian tiger snake. So that's the difference between poison and venom. Hope you got it. And thank you for watching. That's all for now. I will be back with other interesting video. And whoever have not subscribed to my channel still, then please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to get notified. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with other interesting video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.